Helps if you turn the mic on. Good afternoon, I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and we are on alert again today. Yesterday was a First Alert weather day, and we did have heavy rain and thunderstorms roll through the tri-state yesterday evening. We got some heavy rain and even a few damaging wind gusts, had some limbs down and things like that. And it's possible we could see another round of that today, although I'm curious to see if this is actually going to come together later this afternoon and evening. And I'll show you why I'm starting to question things a little bit. First of all, I do want to let you know that we are now under a flood watch for much of the tri-state until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So from now through the rest of tonight and through the first half of the day on Wednesday, we are under a flood watch, mainly in the areas that saw some of that heaviest rain yesterday. That will then see more rain later today into tonight. We do have that flood watch in effect. There's a lot more flood warnings out to the west there where the rain has already moved through. Here's why I'm starting to kind of question whether or not our severe weather is going to come together today. First of all, we do have some thunderstorms developing in western Kentucky right now, but the cold front, what we were expecting to be kind of the main event, is this rain back here in Missouri, and it's been kind of dwindling down a little bit. Now, it's possible as it moves into this area that's warmer and has had some sunshine today that we'll see this line kind of reignite, but again, a little uncertainty on whether or not that's actually going to come together, so we'll be watching that very closely. For right now, we've got some very isolated thunderstorms stretching through Perry, Hancock, Davis, and then back into Webster, McLean, and Hopkins counties. The heaviest rain is falling in Webster County right now, where you see that spot of red, but much of the tri-state is actually dry right now. And depending on which model you look at, how the rest of the day is going to play out looks very differently. So this model in particular is continuing that isolated chance of just some spotty storms moving from southwest to northeast on through the rest of this evening. Now, where exactly those storms will set up is obviously a little uncertain, but it would remain very isolated like what we're seeing right now through the rest of this afternoon and evening if this one plays out. And that lighter rain along the actual cold front would be then off to our northwest, and our rain chances would stay very spotty through the rest of the evening. Now, even if the rain stays isolated, there's still the chance that whatever storms pop up could become strong or maybe even severe, but it's looking like we may not see that widespread rain until later in the night tonight. Then around 10-11 o'clock, look very closely here at the wind arrows. Notice this warm air flowing in from the south, if you can see that there, and then the blue arrows here indicating cooler air coming in from the north. Right there where that change happens, that would be the cold front, and this is indicating that as the cold front pushes through the tri-state, our rain chances kick back up again during the overnight hours tonight. Scattered rain, maybe a rumble of thunder, but it's looking like this would be mainly just showers, so primarily just rain then late tonight into early Wednesday morning, and then we keep scattered rain in the forecast through the first half of the day Wednesday before that rain then tapers off as we get into Wednesday afternoon and evening. But that rain tomorrow morning, that's why that flood watch goes all the way through 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. As for our risk of severe weather, the entire tri-state still outlooked at a level 2 risk for the remainder of the day today. So widespread severe weather is still not expected, but a few strong to severe storms are certainly possible as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening. It's warm and kind of muggy and breezy out there. There's lots of energy, and if these storms are able to tap into that, it is possible they could become strong or maybe even severe. We're not expecting severe weather tomorrow, though. I mentioned that chance of rain into Wednesday, especially Wednesday morning. We are outlooked for the possibility of maybe some general run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. We could get a pocket of heavy rain or a rumble of thunder, but really not anticipating any severe weather of any kind tomorrow. It'll mainly just be rain. As for the individual threats, we are not outlooked for tornadoes today. May in the tri-state, I would never say never, but the odds of us getting a tornado today are very, very low. That's really not what we're concerned about with these storms. The concern is that these storms may be capable of producing hail, damaging wind, and flooding. The whole tri-state is sitting at a level 1 risk for hail, but then it bumps up to a level 2 risk when you're looking at the wind and flooding threats. So the primary concern as these storms roll through is that they may produce some torrential rain that could then result in some just localized flooding, especially as the rain is coming down. A lot of the time it comes down faster than it can run off into the creeks and ditches and things like that. So we may see some localized flooding as these storms are moving through. And we may see some isolated damaging wind gusts. So a lot like the storms we saw yesterday. As it's rolling through, it may pour rain pretty hard for a while there as the storm's rolling through. We could have some gusty winds, maybe knock down some tree branches, things like that. So just those are the things to be aware of. And it's also possible that some of these storms may be capable of producing some small hail, but hail would be the lesser of the threats here. Checking in on the comments. Good afternoon, Jeanette. Zach is asking about severe weather tomorrow. No severe weather tomorrow. If we're going to get any severe storms, it would most likely be between now and through this evening. So this afternoon, we do have some isolated storms out there right now, and we'll continue to see these very just hit or miss thunderstorms through the rest of this afternoon and evening. There's a better chance of rain spread across the whole tri-state late tonight into Wednesday morning, but I think that will be just rain. So we're not concerned about severe weather as we get into Wednesday, Zach. All right, and some people asking about specific locations. When the rain is going to be real scattered like it is this afternoon, we really won't know where it's going to hit until it pops up. So I can tell you there's some, rain in Webster County right now, sliding to the northeast. So that's going to be moving through Henderson, McLean, and then probably eventually Davis County if it holds together. But as for where it would be raining at 6 o'clock this evening, that's really hard to tell. It just depends on where this rain pops up. Some of you are going to get rain and thunderstorms. Others may end up staying dry for most of the evening today. It's just really going to depend. And then that more widespread chance of rain really kicks in late tonight into tomorrow morning. But by then, the severe weather threat will be coming to an end, and it'll just be showers across much of the tri-state, which is really what we need. We have been struggling with drought, and we need some good beneficial rainfall. Until the rain gets here, it's just going to be warm. We're sitting in the mid to upper 80s right now. It's currently 89 in Greenville, so you might get to 90 today. It's 86 in Henderson and Evansville, 87 in Newburgh and Owensboro. I do think we may tack on just another degree or two this afternoon, but obviously if you get caught under one of those thunderstorms, that's going to then cool you back down. We do have winds coming from the southwest, pulling that warmer, more humid air from the deep south up into the tri-state, which is why today has an almost summer-like feel to it. Tonight, scattered rain, maybe a few thunderstorms, but again, our thunderstorm threat starts to kind of taper off as we get into the overnight hours. Temperatures will bottom out in the mid-60s by the end of the night tonight, but then tomorrow, those temperatures don't really go anywhere. After dipping into the mid-60s, we only climb to around 70. So we'll basically just hold steady in the 60s pretty much all day on Wednesday. It's going to be cloudy. We've got that rain, especially through the first half of the day. Then it kind of tapers off as we get into the afternoon and evening. Notice our wind direction changes. Cooler air flowing in from the north behind the cold front, bringing us that rain. So as that wind direction changes, tomorrow is going to be cloudy, cooler, and especially through the first half of the day, kind of rainy. Moving forward, then we keep that cooler air in place on Thursday. Highs again only reaching the lower 70s. Then we start to gradually warm up a bit into the mid 70s and then lower 80s as we go through this weekend. But notice we've got more chances for rain and maybe even a few thunderstorms as we go through the weekend and into the start of next week as well. So we've got that chance of some scattered storms this evening. More rain on the way tomorrow, mainly in the morning. Then that pushes off to the southeast, and Thursday is looking like it'll be mainly dry. We might get a stray shower, but Thursday is looking like maybe the only day this week that will be genuinely dry for most of the tri-state. But then by Friday, this warm front starts to push in from the south and it brings rain with it. So that rain starts to push in probably late Thursday night into Friday morning. Friday looks like it might end up being the rainiest day of the entire week. We have scattered rain possible on and off throughout the entire day on Friday as that warm front slowly pushes through the tri-state along with this low pressure system. Now what's interesting is as we get into Saturday, that low starts to work its way off to the north and our rain chances start to get a little lighter, a little more isolated. So Friday we could get some widespread kind of soaking rain, but then by Saturday it's a lot more scattered, more dry time in the mix Saturday, and then we continue that into Sunday. Now notice this front, not a cold front, not a warm front, kind of looks like a mix of both. That's a stationary front, and so basically this whole thing is going to stall out. So normally you'd have the warm front swing through, it gets kind of hot and humid, then the cold front swings through, and then it gets cool and dry, and then, you know, another warm front swings through, another cold front, and we just kind of repeat this pattern, right? Well, instead we get to this point and it never swings through, it never pushes out, it just kind of parks itself over our region. And so as this frontal system just kind of lingers over the tri-state, we continue to see rain then on into early next week. In fact, our rain chances pick back up as we get into Memorial Day. I know a lot of folks have outdoor plans for Memorial Day, but just so you know, it looks like that front is going to be draped right across our region, and there is a pretty good chance that we'll see some rain on and off throughout the day on Memorial Day, and that rain may even linger over into Tuesday or Wednesday of next week as well. So the extended outlook. Again, we've got that chance for some scattered storms this evening. Some of those may be capable of producing torrential downpours along with some very gusty winds, so be aware of that. And even if the storms are not severe, again, I mentioned this yesterday, a severe thunderstorm would be one that has winds over 58 miles an hour or quarter-size hail or larger. Those are the requirements. You can have a really impactful storm that is still not technically a severe thunderstorm. So you could have a storm with torrential rain, winds that are gusty but under 58 miles an hour, lots of lightning, and it still wouldn't have a warning on it. So just be very aware of that this evening. We could have some storms that would still be very impactful and even dangerous if you're caught outside in them, but not necessarily severe. And then there's also the chance some of them could have those stronger winds that push us over that threshold and into a severe thunderstorm warning. So you want to keep an eye on the sky and on the radar if you're going to be out and about this evening. More rain on the way tomorrow, just showers though, just kind of a drippy, dreary Wednesday, especially first half of the day, also noticeably cooler. Thursday is the one day where I think we'll probably stay dry. Then late Thursday night into Friday, the rain chances pick back up as that warm front swings through the tri-state. Rain is likely, maybe a few thunderstorms. I'm not seeing any kind of major severe weather threat right now though. On the backside of that warm front, our temperatures do climb back into the upper 70s to low 80s for the holiday weekend, but that stationary front just kind of parked over our region keeps hit or miss rain chances in the forecast through the weekend. Now, Saturday and Sunday will not be total washouts. There will be some dry time in the mix as well, but you're going to be dodging rain on and off all weekend. And then we've got even better chances of rain as we get into the start of next week, including on Memorial Day. All right, checking in on the comments again. Donna, glad that you feel a little bit better. Nancy's asking about the rain deficit, and I'm about to show you that here in just a second. Chris is getting some heavy rain and lightning in Breckenridge and Perry County. Yeah, that's one of those spotty storms I was talking about before. William got an inch of rain yesterday. Yeah, we got a little more than that in the Evansville rain gauge. And Chris also reporting some pea-sized hail from that storm in Perry County. Thanks for that report, Chris. All right. And yes, hello to you as well, Ricky. Okay, let's talk about that rain deficit. A lot of people asking about the rain we had yesterday. Here's what the month of May has brought us so far. As for our temperatures, started out very cool at the beginning of the month, but we've kind of righted the ship now, 70s and 80s for the past week and a half or so, which is more typical for this time of year. We picked up 1.18 inches of rain and the rain gauge at the Evansville Regional Airport yesterday. I've had reports of anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain across the tri-state, but that is the official total that will go in the record books for Evansville for May 18th is 1.18 inches of rain. That is some really good beneficial rain. That's the first time we've had an inch or more of rain since April. So we needed that rain. It is still not enough to offset the deficit that we were running up to this point. When I'm talking about deficit, think of it like a budget, deficit versus surplus. Surplus would mean we've got more rain than we need. Deficit means we've got less, right? So typically at this point in May, up to this point in the month, we would have had about 3 1/3 inches of rain. Just kind of on average, looking at back at the past, few decades, on average, up to this point in the month of May, Evansville would pick up about 3 1/3 inches of rain, because this is a time of year where we often are tracking, several chances of rain and thunderstorms on and off throughout the week. So that more than an inch of rain that we picked up yesterday really helped us out. We're up over 2 inches of rain for the month now, but we're still about 1 1/3 inches short on where we normally would be for this point in the month. So I'll be curious to see if we can make that up with the rain we've got in the forecast tonight and to tomorrow. We're certainly going to put a dent in it. On the year, still running short there as well, about 6.5 inches short of where we should be up to this point in the year. And that's because May has not been the only dry month we've had. We had very dry weather for much of January and February were below average. We did have that snowstorm in January, but other than that, the month was pretty dry. So we had below average precipitation on January and February. March, we had a rainy start to the month, but the second half of the month was pretty dry. Then April, we really just had that one standout day where we got thunderstorms. It's the day we had the 4 little tornadoes in Kentucky. But other than that one stormy day, most of April was pretty dry. So really on the year, we're running short. Average temperature, that cool start to the month did really kind of set us off, much cooler than average, and we've been chipping away at that here recently with the 70s and 80s. So with another day in the 80s today, we'll get closer and closer to that average temperature. If you need to get out and get some yard work done, this time of year a lot of folks are gardening, you got to get the grass mowed, things like that. If you get out there right now, depending on your location, you could maybe get your grass mowed today, but I would definitely check the radar before you do and keep a close eye on the sky while you're out there. Wednesday, most of the rain's going to be in the morning, so if you want to shoot to mow your grass at the end of the day tomorrow, I think you could probably get that done. But really, Thursday is your day. Thursday is the one day this week where I think will probably be dry. Friday, we're still obviously a few days away. Things could change, but as of right now, it looks like we have a chance of rain through the entire day on Friday. So I would not plan on any outdoor activities on Friday if you can help it. As for the extended outlook, so this is looking middle and end of next week. So Memorial Day is Monday the 25th, Tuesday would be the 26th. This is looking at Wednesday the 27th through next weekend. And it does show a trend back toward above average temperatures, but it also shows a trend toward near to maybe slightly below average precipitation. So that's something that would be a pattern shift, because over the next few days, we've got several chances of rain. We are stuck in this kind of unsettled weather pattern, but it seems like once we get toward the end of next week, we may finally see that frontal system clear out of here, break free from this unsettled weather pattern, and see drier but still warmer weather taking over. Obviously, it's not an exact forecast, as that would be, 10 days out at this point, but it does seem like by the end of next week, the warmer weather may stick around, but we'll start to ditch the rain chances. Through at least the next 7 days, though, we have several chances of rain. And like I said, with the rainfall deficit we've got going right now, that's a good thing. We need rain. Yesterday's rain was a huge benefit. We need more of that. So I'm looking forward to getting some more rain tonight and tomorrow across the tri-state, and even more rain then as we get into this weekend, even though unfortunately it will probably upset some people's plans. I know we've got a lot of graduations. Some of those are held outdoors on football fields and things like that. We've got a lot of Memorial Day weekend plans. So just be aware of that. This weather, while it is good, we need the rain. It will probably impact a lot of outdoor plans just given this time of year. All right. Not seeing any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons will have an updated look at your forecast on 14 News tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10, and he'll do another streaming show here tonight at 9. So he will be, on the air here tracking these storms as they're moving through, and obviously as needed, if there are warnings and things like that where we need to break in, we can do that as well. And another thing to mention, obviously I'm in weather, not in news, but it is primary day in Kentucky, so our news team is all over that. We're going to have a full coverage of all the news of the day, but especially of the results of those primary races happening in Kentucky today. So I hope you'll join our team for that. And again, we'll be on 14 News on 4, 5, 6, and 10. And then Jeff will have another streaming show with an updated look at the weather here tonight at 9. So I hope you'll join him for that as well. Everybody stay safe. Remember, if thunder roars, go indoors. If you hear thunder while you're out and about this evening, stop what you're doing, move inside. If you're close enough to hear the thunder, you're close enough to get struck by the lightning. So that's a little built-in warning system for you there. And keep in mind, some of those storms may be capable of producing torrential rain and some gusty winds, which is why today is still a first alert weather day. So everybody stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll catch you again at 4.